Most people hear the words compound interest and assume it is some complicated math concept reserved for bankers and finance experts. But once you really understand it, you realize compound interest is one of the most powerful forces in personal finance. It can quietly build your wealth over time. It can also quietly destroy it. The same idea works for you when you save, and against you when you borrow. At its core, compound interest is interest earning more interest. Imagine you put $100 in an account that pays 10% a year. After the first year, you have $110. In the second year, you do not just earn interest on the original 100. You earn it on the new balance. That tiny shift is what turns ordinary saving into something powerful. This idea matters because of time. The longer your money stays invested or saved, the more cycles of compounding it gets. A small amount, given decades to grow, can become surprisingly large. That is why people who start saving early often end up wealthier than people who start later with much higher incomes. Time is doing most of the work, quietly, in the background. To understand how it really works, think of 3 ingredients: the amount you start with, the rate of return, and the length of time. The starting amount matters, but the rate and the time matter more. A higher rate speeds things up, but time turns even ordinary returns into something remarkable. Compounding is patient. It does its job while you are busy living your life. Let us look at a simple example. Imagine you invest $1,000 at a steady annual return of 7%. After 10 years, you have around $2,000. After 20 years, almost $4,000. After 30 years, more than $7,500. You did nothing during those years. The original 1,000 kept producing more, and the new earnings kept producing more on top of that. The most common mistake beginners make is waiting. They tell themselves they should start investing only once they have a higher income or more savings. But this delays the most powerful part of compounding. Even small monthly amounts added early can outgrow much larger amounts added later. The key is not how much you start with. The key is when you start. Early and small almost always beats late and large. Compounding also works in reverse. When you carry debt, especially high-interest debt like credit cards or personal loans, the interest you owe can also compound. Your balance grows, then interest is charged on the bigger balance, then it grows again. That is why debt can feel impossible to escape. The same force that builds wealth can quietly bury you if you owe at high rates. A useful way to picture compounding is a snowball rolling down a long hill. At first, it is small and barely moves. As it rolls, it picks up more snow. The bigger it gets, the more snow it gathers with every turn. Compounding works the same way. The early years feel slow and underwhelming. Then the snowball gets larger, and suddenly the growth looks almost unbelievable. Another important idea is how often the interest is added. Some accounts compound yearly, some compound monthly, some compound daily. The more frequent the compounding, the slightly faster your money grows for the same headline rate. The difference can look tiny at first, but over decades, frequent compounding can quietly add up to a meaningful amount. That is one reason most lenders prefer daily compounding on the balances you owe them, even when they advertise a yearly rate. A helpful shortcut is the rule of 72. You divide 72 by your interest rate to roughly estimate how many years it takes for your money to double. At 6%, money doubles every 12 years. At 9%, every 8 years. It is not exact, but it gives you a fast mental picture of how powerful any rate of return really is when given enough time. Beginners often misunderstand how nonlinear compounding becomes. They expect a smooth straight line going up. But compound growth bends upward sharply. The first 10 years look modest. The next 10 years feel better. The decade after that often produces more growth than every earlier year combined. If you stop too early, you miss the part where compounding really pays you back for your patience. This is also where emotions come in. Compounding rewards patience and consistency. But human nature often pulls us in the opposite direction. We chase fast wins, react to short-term noise, and panic when prices fall. Each time you interrupt the process, you reset the snowball back to a smaller size. People rarely lose to compounding because the math is hard. They lose because the patience is hard, and patience is an emotional skill, not a financial one. A simple rule can protect this growth. Treat your invested or saved money as if it is asleep. Do not wake it up unless you truly need to. Avoid pulling out long-term savings for short-term wants. Every withdrawal cuts into your future growth far more than it feels in the moment. The longer you can leave money alone, the more it quietly works for you. There are two big things to avoid if you want compounding to work for you. First, avoid high-interest debt that compounds against you. Carrying a credit card balance can quietly cancel out years of saving. Second, avoid impatience. Switching strategies every few months, chasing the hottest trend, or trying to time the market constantly can rob you of the calm, steady growth that compounding rewards. A better habit is automation. Set up automatic transfers from your paycheck to your savings or investment account, even if the amount feels small. Automation removes the need to feel motivated each month. It also takes advantage of consistent contributions over time, which combined with compounding produces a smooth, growing curve. You do not need to be a genius. You just need to keep showing up. Over a lifetime, this small habit can change everything. Two people earning the same income can end up in completely different financial situations based purely on when they started and how consistent they stayed. One person ends up working because they choose to. The other works because they have to. The difference is rarely talent or luck. It is usually time, patience, and respect for compounding. So here is the short version. Compound interest is interest earned on interest. It rewards time more than it rewards skill. It can multiply your savings or it can multiply your debt. Small amounts saved early often beat much larger amounts saved late. And the longer you let it work, the more dramatic the results become in the final stretch of the journey. If you want to become financially strong, your job is simple. Start as early as you can, even with small amounts. Avoid high-interest debt that compounds against you. Stay consistent. Do not interrupt the process every time you feel emotional. Compounding does not require you to be smart, lucky, or rich. It just requires you to be patient. Once you respect that, time becomes one of your most valuable assets.